Most of us would like to know precisely when God will fulfill what we have long awaited with fervent hope. Indeed, the human soul often experiences a sense of frustration, as requests made in prayer seem constantly postponed, almost suspended in interminable suspense. Whether it's a personal dream, a professional goal, reconciliation in a family conflict, or a specific petition raised to heaven, it seems as if the answer never arrives in the time we desire. Sometimes, just when it seems the situation is close to being resolved, everything stops again, leaving us speechless. A question then arises spontaneously. Why does this happen? The answer lies in understanding that God has a specific and perfect time for everything. He is not bound by our clocks or subject to human calendars. His time is radically different, absolutely just and perfect. While it may be difficult to accept this immediately, this truth is actually an immense blessing. The Lord, in fact, knows precisely the most opportune moment for events to unfold, even if we don't always immediately understand it. For this reason, I invite you to stay with us until the end, as God wishes to communicate a special message to your heart today. We will conclude with an intense prayer and a hymn of praise that we will raise to honor Him. So open your heart and prepare yourself to receive His blessings. So stay with us until the end of this message, for God has prepared a special word for each of us. We will conclude with a heartfelt prayer and a solemn hymn to His glory. Therefore, open your heart and be ready to receive His blessings. Psalm 31 verses 14 and 15 clearly states, "But I trust in you, O Lord, I say, you are my God. In your hand are all my times." This means that these are not our plans, but His perfect designs for us. When we understand that our times rest in God's loving hands, something powerful happens within us. Anxiety and stress begin to dissolve. We realize that it is not we who direct our lives, but rather the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who knows us by name and who has crafted a wondrous purpose, specifically designed for each of us. I recognize, however, that it's not always easy to trust Him when the answer isn't as good as we expect. Human nature inclines us to want to control every aspect of our lives. We want to know precisely when what we are waiting for will happen. But God doesn't always reveal the when. Rather, He asks us to trust and be patient, for He sees the whole picture, which remains hidden from us. Imagine this scenario. You're certain you're ready to take the next step in your life, whether it's a career advancement, a new venture, or any other area of your life that's meaningful to you. Yet God, who sees all, knows that while you feel prepared, the circumstances or the people who will accompany you along the way aren't yet. He shapes not only our hearts, but also the hearts of those around us so that the blessing will be fully, perfectly, and lastingly manifested. This brings to mind a sublime passage that has always brought peace to my spirit during times of waiting. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 11, it is written, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." God is actively working behind the scenes of our existence. He arranges everything, aligns our hearts, prepares the ground so that when the blessing finally arrives, we are ready to receive it and enjoy it to the full. Often, in fact, we ask for things convinced that they are the best for us, such as obtaining a large sum of money, rapid advancement, or an immediate solution to our problems. However, God knows exactly which goods are truly good and which are not, and He knows perfectly well the best time to grant them. If you don't yet have that sum of money you so desire, God likely knows that at this very moment in your life it could distance you from Him, or that you would be unable to manage it properly. God, in His goodness, sometimes withholds what we deem indispensable, and He does so precisely because He loves us too much to allow a blessing to turn into a curse. Often, when a discouraged person is asked how they feel, they reply, "I could be better." However, the truth is otherwise. If things could be better, God would have already made them better. He, in fact, loves each of us more than we can imagine. His love is limitless. It is eternal and inexhaustible. He is a Father who always desires to give us what is best, and a King who always has the power to make it come true. That is why you should not be troubled if it seems that your blessings are slow in coming. God does not delay, He prepares. He does not forget, He commands. In the Holy Scriptures, in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, we read, "If the vision delays, wait for it will surely come and will not delay." God never acts late, He always acts at the right time. Consider what happened to Lazarus. When Jesus received news of his illness, He did not immediately rush to him. Instead, He intentionally waited 2 days. Humanly, this might have seemed negligent since Lazarus died. However, Jesus desired to manifest God's glory even more. Had He arrived earlier, He would have healed Lazarus. Arriving later, He raised him from the dead. When Mary and Martha exclaimed, "If you had been here, our brother would not have died," Jesus replied, "I am the resurrection and the life." This episode shows us that even when it seems God is late, He is actually always perfectly punctual, and His plan is infinitely higher than ours. Similarly, consider Joseph, sold into slavery by his own brothers. He endured injustice, false accusations, and years of captivity. From a human perspective, all of this constituted a tragic sequence of misfortunes. But in God's appointed time, Joseph was elevated to governor of Egypt. When famine struck, he found himself in the position to save the lives not only of his family, but of entire populations. If God had hastened the timing, Joseph would not have been able to fulfill that mission. If he had delayed it, the people would have suffered. The Lord worked with precision, demonstrating that His timing is always impeccable. Joseph's story is a hymn to the fact that no trial is in vain. Every obstacle prepares the ground for the manifestation of divine purpose. The same truth applies to David's life. Anointing him king while he was still a young shepherd did not mean he was ready to rule immediately. Years of flight, persecution, and hardship tempered his character, teaching him to trust in the Lord and to lead with humility. Only when he was spiritually and psychologically mature did God give him the throne. Had David ascended prematurely, he would not have been able to bear the weight of responsibility. But at the appointed time, the promise was perfectly fulfilled. This demonstrates that the time of waiting is never in vain. It forges the soul and enables it to endure the blessing to come. It's crucial to understand that waiting doesn't equate to inaction. God doesn't ask us to remain passive, but to grow, to prepare, to trust in Him. During those times, He works deeply in our hearts, correcting what needs to be corrected, strengthening our faith, and shaping our lives so that we are suitable instruments for fulfilling His will. Seasons of silence aren't God's absence. They are His secret laboratory, where He shapes our lives like a goldsmith, refining gold in a crucible. When the time comes, the beauty of God's plan will be revealed in all its fullness. For this reason, we must never allow ourselves to be overcome by discouragement. Often, seeing others realize similar dreams, we may feel abandoned or forgotten. But the truth is, God forgets no one. His timetable is personalized for each of us. He doesn't work in series, but in a unique and unrepeatable way. What may happen today for another will happen for you at the perfect time, according to His infinite wisdom. When the blessing manifests, you will understand that the waiting was not a waste, but rather an integral part of grace itself. From this perspective, every difficulty takes on a new meaning. Trials, criticisms, and disappointments are not destructive, but rather pedagogical tools in the hands of God. They purify intentions, strengthen the will, and deepen faith. Those who can view their lives with this spiritual gaze discover that even the most painful betrayals can become springboards to greater maturity. Nothing is random. Every circumstance is orchestrated by the Creator with superhuman precision, so that human beings can fully realize their vocation. It is an invitation not to complain about the journey, but to embrace it with trust, recognizing that even the thorns are part of the design that leads to the flower. This is why Scripture exhorts us to maintain inner peace even in the face of attack. The servant of the Lord, the Apostle Paul states, must not be quarrelsome but gentle, capable of teaching, and patient. It is a call not to react instinctively to every provocation, but rather to abide in the serenity of one who knows that God governs events. Living with this attitude does not mean weakness, but rather authentic strength, the ability to resist the waves because one is rooted on rock. In this way, hostile words find no fertile ground, and even injustices become opportunities to bear witness to divine grace. If today you feel burdened by trials, rejections, or misunderstandings, don't give in to despair. Every difficulty is a training ground for greater challenges. Instead of asking for obstacles to be removed, pray for the strength needed to face them with courage and discernment. Be thankful for your trials, recognizing them as opportunities for growth. A day will come when you will look back and clearly see the coherence of God's plan. That day you will be able to say with joy, "Everything has worked for my good." This is the certainty that transforms tears into hope and pain into a song of gratitude. Finally, prayer becomes the privileged way to keep this trust alive. Turning to God with a humble heart, confessing our own frailty and surrendering our wounds to Him, means recognizing that He alone is the source of all consolation and the sure guide on the journey. Prayer is not an act of escapism, but of spiritual realism. It is entrusting the helm of life to Him who knows the best routes. Prayer opens the door to divine action, brings peace to the heart, and provides the certainty that we are not alone. God listens, intervenes, and leads us toward the fullness of His promises. This is the truth that sustains every believer. The best is yet to come. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to extend a sincere invitation. If this message has nourished your spirit and brought light to your heart, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel. This way, you can constantly receive new content that can build your faith, support your inner journey, and remind you day after day that you are not alone. God is tirelessly working in your life. The simple act of subscribing, combined with your appreciation, allows us to reach many more people and further spread the message of hope and love that the Lord has destined for all His children. Be a living part of this community. Together we can grow, intercede, and bear witness to divine grace.